This city shines from far away. Tall buildings, bright lights, endless money. But behind those lights, there is another world. A world where people do not live in rooms. They live in boxes. Boxes so small you cannot stand. You cannot stretch. Sometimes you cannot even turn. These spaces are called micro-units. That name hides the truth. They are not homes. They are cages. In this city, over 180,000 people sleep inside spaces smaller than a parking spot. Some are only 15 square feet, barely longer than a human body. This is one of the richest cities on Earth. Yet thousands live like this. Today, we step inside that hidden world, not as visitors, but as witnesses. We will walk through illegal buildings, climb narrow corridors, and meet people who have survived here for decades. Some alone, some as couples, some barely fitting inside their own box. We will spend an entire day with one resident, a man who has lived inside a box for 17 years. No escape, no privacy, no future. But first, we begin with what they call a comfortable unit. This building was never meant to be like this. It was once normal, until greed took over. Floors were cut in half, ceilings lowered, extra levels squeezed in. Now, each floor holds over 25 tiny units. When you step inside, your head almost touches the ceiling. Breathing feels heavier. The air feels old. This is where Lena lives. She has been here for almost 11 years. Her entire life fits into one narrow box. A small fridge, a screen, a few clothes. That's it. She is lucky, though. Her unit has a window. Most do not. She says the hardest part is not the size. It is the silence. People die here. And sometimes, no one notices. Only when the smell comes, does anyone call for help. Fires happen often too. Too many wires, too much load. This is only the beginning, because the next place we visit makes this one feel merciful. And behind the next wall are dozens of people packed together like forgotten cargo. This city is full, and still. It keeps squeezing. From the outside, this building looks ordinary. Painted walls, old windows, nothing unusual. But once you step inside, the truth hits you. Behind these walls, space has been erased. An apartment that once housed one family is now split into more than 30 units. Each unit is a narrow rectangle, stacked, layered, pressed together. No windows, no sunlight, no fresh air, only thin wooden panels separating one life from another. The corridor is so tight that two people cannot pass at once. Shoes line the floor. Plastic bags hang from hooks. The smell never leaves. Inside each box, a person lies quietly. Some stare at their phones, some sleep, some just wait. This is where May lives. She shares a unit with a partner. 2 adults, one box. They cannot stand together. One must sit. The other must lie down. Clothes hang inches above their heads. Bottles, cables, food wrappers are stacked beside the bed. There is no place to change clothes properly. They bend, twist, move slowly. It takes them nearly 10 minutes just to change shirts. Heat is constant here. Air does not move. A small fan runs all day. When electricity cuts, the box becomes unbearable. May cut her hair short years ago. Not for style. For survival. She says bugs are everywhere. Under the mattress, inside the walls and tay sheets. They bite at night. Again and again. She shows marks on her arms, small red dots, clusters, bed bugs. They drink blood. They multiply fast. People here get sick, weak, anemic. But extermination costs money. Money they do not have. May works part-time cleaning offices. Long hours. Low pay. Half of her income goes to this box. She says it's simply, I have nowhere else. At night, their bed becomes a table. They sit carefully, eating fast food, trying not to spill. Entertainment is simple. A phone, a screen. Internet is not a luxury here, it is an escapee. Without it, there is nothing. No space to walk, no place to go, just walls closing in. And this place is still not the worst, because above these units are the upper boxers, even smaller, even hotter, where people cannot even fit a fan. And that is where we are going next. Above the lower boxers, there is another level. You reach it by climbing a narrow ladder. Each step creaks. Each movement feels unsafe. Up here, the air is worse. These are the upper coffin units. Smaller, hotter, more suffocating. There is no room for a fan inside, no space to sit upright, no margin for comfort. Residents spend most of their time outside their own homes. They sit in the corridor, leaning against the wall, waiting for night to pass. This hallway becomes everything. Living room, dining area, cooling zone. This is where Frankie lives. He works night shifts. From 9 p.m. until early morning, metalwork, heavy labor. His body is always tired. His hands are rough. His back never rests. He earns just enough to survive. His unit contains almost nothing. A thin mattress, a small TV, a pillow, no shelves, no extra space. He says it simply, this place is not good. Humidity fills the air. Sweat never dries. Mold spreads quietly. Sleep comes in short pieces. When asked about the future, Frankie doesn't hesitate. In 10 years, I'll be dead. Not dramatic. Just honest. Below him, others are worse off. Some units are so small that even lying flat is impossible. And one man here cannot even close his door. His shoulder sticks out when he lies inside. His name is John. A big man, trapped in a tiny space. He sleeps sideways. Without a mattress, not be choice. If he uses one, he won't fit. Bed bugs are another reason. Mattresses attract them. John has lived like this for 18 years. His life collapsed slowly. Gambling took everything. His wife left. His family disappeared. Now he lives on welfare. He barely leaves the building. His legs are weak. His balance is unstable. He fears falling outside with no one to help. So he stays inside, watching television, waiting. When asked about the future, his answer is the same, probably in a grave. Many here apply for government housing, but the waiting list is long. 10 years, sometimes more. Even public housing is not free. For many, the wait feels endless. And while they wait, they remain here, in boxers, in silence, in one of the richest cities on earth. But to understand why this exists, you have to look beyond the building. You have to look at the city itself. To understand these coffin homes, you must look at the city around them. This is one of the densest cities on earth. Millions of people, very little land. Mountains on one side, ocean on the other. There is nowhere to expand. So the city grows upward and inward. Buildings rise like walls of concrete. Every empty space is used. Every corner is monetized. Some buildings are stacked on top of others. Parking garages become foundations. Homes are built above them. 10 floors on top of 8 more. The city is full. And when space runs out, desperate solutions appear. Apartments are sliced apart. Floors are split in half. Rooms are carved into boxers. That is how coffin homes are born. Now we enter another building. This one opens directly into a bathroom. There is no hallway, no separation. The smell hits instantly. Damp, air, mold, rot. Water drips constantly from the ceiling. Someone is mopping. Again. This never stops. Inside, People prepare food next to the toilet. There is no kitchen. Vegetables are washed in the same sink used after flushing. Clothes hang above the bowl. There is no lid. Hygiene here is a luxury. Bacteria spreads easily. Illness follows quietly. People get sick. They recover, then get sick again. This is survival mode. One resident here cannot fit inside his coffin at all. He keeps his door open. If he closes it, he cannot breathe. His shoulder sticks out. He has nowhere else to go. He used to have a family, a wife, a daughter. Gambling destroyed it. Now he lives alone. No job. No future plans. His days are identical. Wake up. Watch TV. Sit still. He fears walking outside. His legs might fail him. So he waits. Inside a box. Time passes differently here. Hours feel heavy. Days blur together. The mind shrinks with the space. Depression is common. Anxiety never leaves, but people adapt. They shorten their hair to stay cooler. They sleep without mattresses. They own almost nothing, because owning things requires space. And space costs money, more money than they will ever earn. To escape a coffin home, you need a miracle, or a decade-long wait. Most never leave, and as night falls, the building changes. Lights flicker on. Corridors fill. People return from exhausting jobs. They climb ladders. They crawl into boxers. Doors close. Curtains fall, and the city outside keeps glowing. Bright, rich, unreachable. But even if you leave this building, it doesn't get easier, because having a real home here comes with an impossible price. And that price is what we'll see next. Now imagine this. You don't want luxury. You don't want space. You just want to stand up inside your own home. That simple wish has a price here. We walk into a real estate office. Nothing fancy. Nothing premium. This is an average neighborhood. The agent shows us the cheapest option available. One room. No extra space. The price? Over $1 million. For a home smaller than many garages. If buying is impossible, what about renting? A single-bedroom apartment costs around $4,000 per month. That's more than most people earn. So for many residents, coffin homes are not a choice. They are the only option. This city ranks among the richest in the world. Yet the wealth is not shared. Just a handful of people control a massive portion of the money. They live high above the streets, behind glass, behind gates. Below them, people struggle to breathe. Life expectancy here is high, but quality of life is not. Elderly residents work long hours. Even after retirement, some collect cardboard, others clean floors. All to pay rent for a space the size of a coffin, and there's always fear. Fear of eviction. Fear of being reported. Fear of losing the only place they have. Many landlords rent these units illegally. If authorities find out, tenants are thrown out. No warning, no protection. One woman says it clearly. If they kick us out, we go to the street. That's it. No backup plan, no safety net. During summer, the heat becomes unbearable. Humidity traps the air. Mold grows everywhere. The temperature inside feels suffocating. Some residents faint, others collapse quietly. In these conditions, even drinking water feels like survival, and when someone loses their home, life on the streets follows. Sleeping outside, begging for help, heat during the day, cold at night. The coffin home may be terrible, but for many, it is still better than nothing. And when you realize this, something becomes clear. In this city, even living is expensive, and shockingly, so is dying. Because here, even death has no space. And that is where this story goes next. If living here is hard, dying is no escape. In this city, even burial has a price. A small grave plot can cost tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more. Some have sold for over 100,000. Most families cannot afford that, so instead of owning graves, people rent them. After 6 years, the body must be removed. Bones are taken out. The rest is cremated. Ashes are placed inside tiny drawers. Small boxers, no bigger than a shoebox, stacked like shelves, just like the coffin homes. Space is scarce everywhere, above ground and below it. Back in the living world, people continue surviving day by day. We visit another building. The air hits instantly. Warm, wet, heavy. Mold covers the ceiling. Water drips onto the floor. Someone is mopping nonstop. It never really dries. We step inside an empty unit. No bed. No window. Just metal walls. You sit down, and it feels like the space is closing in. Breathing becomes difficult. This is where someone sleeps, eats, lives. There is nowhere else to go. Some doors are not even doors, just thin curtains. No locks. No privacy. Anyone can walk in. At night, noise travels through the walls. Coughing, arguing, crying. No silence, no peace. In another room, a woman cooks rice. The stove sits beside the toilet. Laundry hangs above it. There is no lid on the toilet. Food, clothes, waste, all in one place. This isn't rare. It is a normale. Health risks are everywhere. Bacteria spreads. People get sick often. But medical care costs money, so most endure it quietly. One man tells us prison was better. In jail, he had more space. He could stand. He had a toilet. Here, he has none of that. Another resident admits his past mistakes ruined his life. Now, this coffin is all he has. Years pass. Decades pass. Many never leave. They wait for government housing. The wait list is long. 10 years. Sometimes more. For some, they die before their turn comes. In a city of towers and lights, thousands live unseen. Hidden behind walls. Hidden behind silence. And as night falls, the question remains. How long can a human live without space? Because tomorrow, the struggle begins again. Morning comes slowly here. Not with sunlight, but with noise. Footsteps in the corridor, coughing through thin walls. Buckets scraping the floor. People wake up already tired. Most have nowhere to go. They sit inside their coffins, scrolling phones. That small screen is their escape, their window to the outside world. One resident tells us he walks aimlessly every day, just to feel space, just to breathe. Then he comes back, because this is still cheaper than sleeping outside. Outside is worse. Rent keeps rising. Jobs pay little. Half their income goes to this box, sometimes more. A part-time cleaner earns just enough to survive. No savings. No future plans. Only today. Another man works nights. Metal. Labor. Long hours. He returns home at dawn. Exhausted. He lies down, staring at the ceiling. When asked about the future, he doesn't hesitate. I won't make it that far. That sentence hangs in the air. Hope feels expensive here. Many people once had families, homes, dreams, divorce, debt, addiction. One bad turn and there's no safety net. You fall fast. Social services exist, but demand is massive. Applications pile up. Years pass in waiting. Some residents stop checking. They assume this is permanent. The buildings age. Wires overload. Fires break out. Og. S. 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 Break. When someone dies inside, neighbors often don't notice. Not until the smell spreads. Then police come. Another coffin opens. Another life ends quietly. Yet the city above keeps shining. Luxury towers rise higher. Empty apartments sit untouched. Owned as investments, not homes. The contrast is brutal. Two worlds. Side by side. One overflowing with wealth. The other suffocating. People here don't ask for luxury. They ask for space. A door that locks. A window that opens. A place to stand as night approaches. Corridors fill again. Fans hum loudly. Sweat drips. Another day survived, but survival is not living. And deep inside these walls, a question echoes. How long can a city ignore its invisible people? Because tomorrow, they wake up to the same box again. As space disappears for the living, it vanishes for the dead too. Here, death is not an escape. It is another bill. Burial plots are rare and painfully expensive. Some cost more than a lifetime of rent. Many families cannot afford it. So graves are rented after a few years. The body is removed, burned, ashes placed into drawers. Small, silent, stacked, like the homes people lived in, like boxers again. Even mourning has a deadline. Cremation has become the norm. Not by choice. By necessity. Space is gone. The city has reached its limit. High above, skyscrapers glow. Luxury apartments sit dark, empty, owned by investors who never sleep there. Below, people fight for air, for privacy, for dignity. Elderly residents roam the streets, collecting cardboard. At 80 years old, they still work, because rent never stops. Heat makes everything worse. Summer turns these coffins into ovens. Humidity sticks to skin. Walls grow mold. Air becomes toxic. Doctors warn the pollution inside these homes is deadly, 4 times above safe levels. Yet, people sleep here, night after night. Fans spin uselessly. Sweat soaks pillows. Sleep never feels complete. Fear never leaves. Landlords can evict them any time. Many units are illegal. One complaint and everything collapses. So residents stay quiet, invisible, afraid. If they lose this place, the street waits. Some already know that life, they say the coffin, as terrible as it is, still feels safer. At least it has a roof. At least it has walls. The city promises solutions, future plans, long timelines, years away. But people don't live in the future. They live now. And right now, over 200,000 people are trapped in boxers, hidden behind walls, ignored by progress. The question remains, how long can a city call itself rich while its people live like this? Because when space becomes a luxury, human dignity becomes optional. And for many here, it has already been taken away. In the dazzling glow of Hong Kong's neon skyline, a city famed for its wealth and ambition, lies a hidden reality. For over 200,000 people, home isn't a place of comfort, but a cage. This is the world of coffin homes, subdivided flats, and cage home spaces so small, they defy imagination. Today, we're re-stepping beyond the postcard views to understand the human cost of living in one of the world's most expensive cities. This is Arwing's world. His entire life, his bed, his clothes, his memories is confined to a space barely larger than a coffin. It's just a few stacked wooden planks, measuring 6 feet by 2.5. There's no room to stand, only to lie down. Every day, the simple act of stretching is a luxury he can't afford. The air is thick and stale, a mix of unwashed laundry, instant noodles, and the ever-present dampness that seeps through the walls. Privacy is a forgotten concept. The sounds of coughing, snoring, and quiet desperation from his neighbors are a constant, inescapable soundtrack. Imagine waking up every morning with the ceiling just inches from your face. The psychological toll is immense. It's a daily battle against claustrophobia and a crushing sense of hopelessness. Many residents, like Ming, who has lived here for over 5 years, describe a feeling of being slowly erased, their dreams and ambitions shrinking to fit the confines of their box. The lack of natural light disrupts sleep patterns, and the constant noise grinds down your mental resilience. It's not just a physical space. It's a mental prison that chips away at your dignity, day by day. The living conditions are a breeding ground for health problems. The building is old, and the wiring is a chaotic mess, a constant fire hazard, with dozens of people sharing a single, often filthy, bathroom. Hygiene is a constant struggle. Bed bugs and cockroaches are unwelcome, but permanent roommates. Respiratory illnesses are common due to poor ventilation, and the cramped conditions can worsen existing health issues. For the elderly and the infirm, climbing into these stacked bunks is a perilous daily chore. It's a life lived on the edge, where a simple illness can quickly become a crisis. How did it come to this? It's a perfect storm of soaring property prices, a shortage of public housing, and stagnant wages. Many residents are the working poor. They have jobs as cleaners, security guards, construction workers, but their income is simply not enough to afford even a basic apartment. They are trapped in a cycle of poverty, invisible to the bustling city around them. Social welfare systems are overwhelmed, and the waiting list for public housing can stretch for years, leaving them with no other option. These are not just statistics. They are people who have been left behind. Despite the bleakness, sparks of humanity endure. Neighbors share what little they have: a hot meal, a kind word, a helping hand. Community organizers and volunteers work tirelessly, providing food, medical checkups, and a listening ear. They fight to bring attention to this crisis, lobbying the government for better housing policies and more humane solutions. They remind us that even in the darkest corners, compassion can find a way to shine. Their work is a lifeline, offering a glimmer of hope in a world that often feels hopeless. The existence of coffin homes in a city as prosperous as Hong Kong is a stark reminder of deep-seated inequality. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about our society and the value we place on human dignity. What is our responsibility to the most vulnerable among us? Change is possible, but it requires awareness, empathy, and collective action. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please share it. Spreading awareness is the first step towards building a more just and compassionate world for everyone. In one of the world's most dazzling and expensive cities, a hidden reality exists. A reality that's measured not in square feet, but in square inches. Welcome to Hong Kong, a city of soaring skyscrapers and glittering lights, but also home to what are known as coffin homes. Today, we're going beyond the postcard image to understand the lives of those who call these tiny spaces home. What exactly is a coffin home? Imagine a living space so small you can't even stand up straight. These are subdivided units, sometimes just a bed-sized box stacked on top of others, often no larger than 20 square feet. For hundreds of thousands of people, this is not just a place to sleep. It's their entire world. It's where they eat, store their belongings, and try to find a sliver of peace in a city that never stops. You might be asking, who lives here? The residents come from all walks of life. There are elderly individuals who have worked their whole lives, but can't afford a proper retirement. There are low-wage workers, cleaners, security guards, construction laborers who build and maintain this city but are priced out of its housing market. And there are single parents, struggling to provide for their children in an impossibly expensive environment. They aren't lazy or unmotivated. They are victims of a systemic housing crisis. Living in these conditions takes an immense toll, not just physically, but mentally. The lack of personal space is suffocating. Privacy is a luxury they cannot afford. Basic hygiene is a daily struggle, with shared, often unsanitary, bathrooms and kitchens. Imagine trying to cook a meal or take a shower when you have to wait in line with 20 other people. The constant noise, the lack of fresh air, and the ever-present feeling of being trapped can lead to severe stress, anxiety, and deep feelings of hopelessness. Social isolation becomes a powerful force. How do you invite a friend over when your home is a box? How do you build community when you're constantly surrounded by strangers, yet feel completely alone? Many residents describe a profound sense of shame and invisibility. They feel forgotten by the society they contribute to every single day. This isn't just about poverty. It's about a loss of dignity, a stripping away of the basic human need for a safe and respectable place to call home. Despite the bleakness, there are glimmers of resilience. We see neighbors sharing what little they have, forming small, informal support systems. We see community organizations and social workers on the ground, fighting tirelessly to provide assistance, from food and medical care to advocating for policy changes. They are a lifeline, offering not just practical help but also a crucial reminder that these individuals are not forgotten, that their lives matter. The problem of coffin homes is complex, tied to land scarcity, economic inequality, and government policy. There are no easy solutions, but awareness is the first step. By understanding the harsh reality faced by so many, we can begin to challenge the systems that allow this to happen. We can support the organizations working to make a difference and lend our voices to the call for more humane and affordable housing for everyone. The people living in these spaces are more than just a statistic. They are mothers, fathers, and grandparents with stories, dreams, and an unyielding will to survive. Their hope may be fading, but it isn't gone yet. If you are moved by this story, please share this video to raise awareness. And if you are struggling with your mental health or feeling hopeless, please know that help is available. We'll leave some resources in the description below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that matter. The city keeps moving. New buildings rise, new wealth accumulates, and the invisible city remains stacked behind walls. Breathing recycled air, waiting for a future that keeps getting postponed. Coffin homes aren't a failure of individuals. They are a mirror, showing what happens when survival becomes a privilege instead of a right. And until that changes, this invisible city will continue to grow in the shadows. For many residents, hope is measured in years. Not dreams, not plans, years. They apply for public housing, fill out forms, submit documents. 10. Wait. 5 years. 10 years. Sometimes longer. Every morning begins the same way. Wake up. Bent. Stretch carefully. Avoid hitting the ceiling. Pain becomes routine. Back pain. Joint pain. Breathing problems. Doctors prescribe medicine. But medicine can't fix space. Some residents stop working not by choice. Their bodies give up first. Without work, income drops. Options disappear, and the coffin becomes permanent. Elderly residents fear one thing most: dying alone. In rooms this small, no one notices silence. Neighbors assume sleep or absence. Sometimes days pass before someone realizes. The smell is what alerts others. That's when doors open. Police arrive. Another life, quietly erased. No funeral, no space for grief. Just another empty box, waiting for the next tenant. Young residents carry different fears. They fear never leaving, never forming families, never becoming more. Dating feels impossible. Privacy doesn't exist. Love needs space. So does dignity. Many give up on both. At night, phones glow softly. Screens become windows. YouTube replaces travel. Movies replace memories. The world feels close, yet unreachable. Government promises appear every few years. New plans, new deadlines. Most residents don't believe them anymore. They've heard it before. Soon. Improvement. By the next decade. Time keeps moving. They don't. And still, people survive. They clean offices, fix metal, collect cardboard. They keep going because stopping isn't an option. Resilience becomes a necessity. Not because they are strong, but because they must be. Coffin homes don't just trap boat. They trap time. Years pass, unnoticed. Life shrinks quietly. And for many residents, the greatest fear isn't poverty. It's that one day, they'll realize they spent their entire life waiting for a door that never opened. In the end, nothing dramatic happens. No explosion. No sudden escape. Life just continues. Inside a box. Coffin homes are not accidents. They are outcomes. Outcomes of greed, of silence, of a system that looks away. In one of the richest cities on Earth, people are forced to live smaller than graves. Some residents say, "This isn't living. It's waiting. Waiting for housing. Waiting for money. Waiting for time to pass. Waiting to disappear." Children grow up learning how to bend, how to fold themselves, how to exist quietly. Dreams adjust to ceiling height. Ambition shrinks. Hope becomes fragile. And yet, people still smile. They still share food, still help neighbors, still survive another day. That is the cruelest part. Human beings adapt even when they shouldn't have to. These coffin homes hide suffering behind concrete walls, out of sight, out of mind. But they are real, and the people inside them are real. They are not statistics, not headlines, not background noise. They are lives, and until space is treated as a human right, not a luxury, this story won't end. It will repeat again, and again, and again, because in this city, even death requires space, and for the living, there is barely room to breathe.